Cardid, and it has changed my life. I'm a fan of his ever since. I love this collection. Of his most legendary supermodels and more. The four queens of the runway. Fashion, New York Fashion Week is right around the corner. Librarian tonight, and that's because I came to read a bitch. Jaja's Atelier, bitch. Welcome back, y'all. She's back to a brand new episode of Jaja's Atelier. Listen, I know it's been a while, but I had to take a break. You know, I like to take my social media breaks. That's why sometimes, if y'all notice, anytime I start to take off, you notice I give you like 2-3 episodes in 1 week. That means she ain't finna be here for a little while. Well, I'm back. We have a lot of things to talk about, so let's jump right on in. First, before we get into anything, I want to send a huge congratulations to Beyonce Knowles Carter for winning her first Emmy for the work that she did for the NFL Beyonce Bowl and the Netflix special that followed. The award category was Outstanding Costumes for Variety, Nonfiction or Reality Programming. And again, the special that was released on Netflix, making her that much closer to becoming an EGOT. So huge congratulations to Beyonce. Also, it has just been announced that mother of all the dolls, honey, Miss T.S. Madison, will be honored at this year's Atlanta Black Pride. So huge congratulations to her. And I believe it's for all her great humanitarian work that she's doing with her T.S. Madison Starter House for trans women that are transitioning from sex work, onto bigger and better things. So yeah, huge congratulations. You know we're doing everything black around here nowadays, darling. So listen, I just want to jump straight into it, and I need a cigarette for this story. Let me pull it up. Again. You know we're doing everything black nowadays, darling. And speaking of black, La Roche, stylist, image architect, legendary fashion icon himself, La Roche, that's right, is in huge talks to acquire something quite special. According to Puck.News, there was much ado about La Roche's retirement from the world of celebrity styling more than 2 years ago, writes Lauren Sherman. And in the end, she says it meant nothing. Now, however, it seems that Zendaya's image architect, in fact, has something in store. La Roche is lining up financial backers to make a play for luxury fashion house, Emmanuel Ungaro, a struggling tech-owned French luxury brand that cycled through a dozen odd designers since Asim Abdullah brought it from the Ferragamos. Now, I've heard a lot of fashion influencers and YouTubers talk about this subject, but they were all whites. I heard one black girl talk about it, but none of them touched on, excuse me, I'm lighting my cigarette. No, I still have not quit. By the way, do you guys like this dress? This was my 30th birthday dress. I'm surprised I can still fit it. Lots of Lycra. I forgot the designer, but it is designer. I just forgot who it was. And honey, I done reworked it so many times. There's no label in the back. Anyway, none of them talked about how important this is to black fashion. If you're not familiar with Emmanuel Ungaro, he was the it man back in, I really remember him from the 80s through the early 90s. And just the way he mixed prints, everything was so delicate and ladylike. A real just door opener in fashion. When I think of Emmanuel Ungaro, if I could think of any designer that reminds me of Emmanuel Ungaro, it would have to be Richard Quinn. And here are some pictures of his early works. This is like 80s through the early 90s. Just fabulous. Now, ever since Emmanuel Angaro's death, however, the brand, just like Puck.News is saying, has been really struggling. Even once, hiring Lindsay Lohan, no offense to her, because she's on, she's back on her It Girl rise, but, they picked Lindsay Lohan in the early 2000s, I believe, or the mid 2000s, to be the creative director, honey. That's how far they were reaching. This is huge, and I'm really, really excited about this, and I'm hoping that nobody tries to block it, because I do believe, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I do believe this is the first time in fashion history that an African American has sought to buy a luxury fashion house. I could be wrong. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Maybe, yeah, the first to actually buy a luxury fashion house, a luxury heritage fashion house. I do believe this is the first time, and this is, Emmanuel Ungaro. It's a European luxury fashion brand. We don't have a lot of us in that market, and this is what I've been talking about: ownership. If this deal goes through, La Roche could hire whoever he wants. He could do whatever he wants. It will be his. I'm sure, his financial backers would have a little bit of a say, but knowing La Roche, it won't be much. And with, every time he puts Zendaya in something, it goes viral. So it's no doubt in my mind that this will be the resurrection of the house of Emmanuel Ungaro. I definitely think it could be a success. Now, a lot of people were talking about, who could the creative director be? And I said, why not La Roche? I heard a couple of people say that, then I heard a couple of people throw some names around. Listen, I fully believe that La Roche could design a collection. Listen, he did a guest stint with Hervé Leger and did amazing. The pieces were absolutely stunning. So, and those are two different brands. But the experience and the things that this man has seen behind the scenes when it comes to not only just fashion, but garment making. I don't know if he can, draw a design, or he could use AI, but the things that he has seen behind the scenes, listen, I think he would be perfect for the job. And if he doesn't want to do it because he's busy doing other things, I haven't really thought about who else, he could tap. I mean, there's plenty of people, but, when it comes to that ladylike, country club, that's what I think of when I think of Emmanuel Ungaro. And that aesthetic is definitely what La Roche has been giving, with Zendaya for the last, I would say, year and a half. She's, it's all about the grown woman, honey. So, I mean, when I read this, and I've heard this from multiple Instagram accounts, they've been making TikToks about it. I am really, really hoping this goes through. This is the kind of movement I want to see in fashion. I want to see us in positions of ownership, not just as stylists, not just as creative directors, not just as models, not just as photographers, but actually owning a stake, owning a piece of the European fashion market and dominating. So I don't know, y'all. I'm really excited about this. I am really excited about this. La Roche, I am rooting for you. I am rooting for you. We are all rooting for you. Listen, because this is major. Especially in this climate now, especially with, everything that's going on with Jeff Bezos allegedly buying Vogue, and then, we're seeing a little less, diversity, and, people aren't speaking out about things the way they should. Even though we do have some that do speak out and do the right thing, there's a lot of them that don't. So, good luck And we're praying for you, La Roche, because this has got to go through. We need black people. We are the highest consumers. We need this. We need more representation. And again, I cannot stress this enough, in seats of ownership. There's nothing wrong with being the creative director. There's nothing wrong with being the photographer. There's most certainly nothing wrong with being the model. But honey, when you own the house, baby, can't just anybody knock at your front door. You feel me? Anyway, so listen. September is right around the corner. Can you believe it? It's like the years are going by so quick. The months and the years are going by so quick. You know what else is helping to go by is we can't go a day without hearing something crazy in politics. We're going to get to that in a minute. But, you know, listen, all the September covers are here, darling. And I'm going to start with my least favorite. I'd rather give you guys the bad news first. And listen, so American Vogue debuted their September cover for 2025, and I'm a fan of Emma Stone, but honey, I'm just gonna say it like I'm eating because I'm high and I'm hungry and I'm ready to eat. Another white bitch? Really? Really? Now, she is photographed by Jamie Hawksworth, and she is styled by Grace Coddington. She's wearing all Louis Vuitton by Nicholas Geshire. Listen, the cover is cute. It's cute. It reminds me of, you know, Hailey Bieber's cover just last month. Again, this is no shade to Emma Stone, but it's just like Tracee Ellis Ross has never been on the cover of American Vogue, which is crazy to me. She would have been the perfect September cover. If you had to choose a white gal, if you had to positively choose a white gal, why not go with, I don't know. I would have loved to see Tracee Ellis Ross on the September cover for Vogue this year. It would have been a great follow-up to, you know, the Met Gala issue. It would have been a great follow-up to that. You've had nothing but white people on the cover since then, I believe. I don't even have a Vogue subscription anymore. I bought my September issue at the store because there was an article in there I wanted to see, but it didn't have anything to do with Emma Stone. Now, if we're talking about the images, I thought that, you know, listen, I thought the images were great. I thought the looks were great. It's just white girl after white girl after white girl. Like, come on. You know, so listen, no shade to Emma Stone. Now, my favorite, one look that really did stand out to me, because I'm not a huge fan of Nicholas at Louis Vuitton. I'm just not. He's just not my thing. Very talented. He's been there for a while, but it just, his collections just don't really speak to me. But this look right here, this half tuxedo jumpsuit with the bralette, and I love the picture. I love this look. And you know, Emma Stone, she's kind of like an awkward beauty, you know, as my mother Wendy Williams would say. How you doing? She's kind of like an awkward beauty, but, you know, she's got a nice personality, but it's just real granola. Very granola. And then, you know, listen, let's get into my second favorite. Well, my first favorite. And then you have British Vogue, who is light years ahead of American Vogue, in my personal opinion. And it is starring somebody who we haven't seen in a while, Michelle Coel. Actress Michelle Coel. In the mag, she talks about choosing to freeze her eggs and her new man that she met through online dating, 33-year-old entrepreneur Spencer Hewitt. You know, listen. Y'all know I'm celibate. But he is scrumptious. Very scrumptious. I ain't mad at you, girl. And I saw a lot of people in the comments that were like, what is it with these, these darker skinned women? They're always with white men. Well, listen, as a dark skinned woman myself, listen, we have to go where we're celebrated and not tolerated. And if she found love in this man, then who the hell are we to say anything about it? She also talks about her new movie coming out called The Christophers, which is slated to premiere at the upcoming Toronto Film Festival. Now, listen, honey, let's get into the looks. Um, I absolutely loved this spread. I think she is such a goddess. Like her cheekbones, her features are like no other. I forgot where she's from. On the cover, she's wearing Azadina Laya. She's wearing Marc Jacobs. She's wearing Schiaparelli. She's wearing Victoria Beckham, and she's also wearing a look from Sarah Burton's debut collection as Givenchy. I just thought this was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. This is what we want to see. We want the editorial piece of the September issue to really tell a story. And that American Vogue, it just didn't speak to me. Maybe other people have different ideas. I like the clothes, but it was very granola. This was gritty. It was real. It told a story, like I said, and she's just so dynamically beautiful. If Origami was a person, it would be Michelle Coel. Absolutely stunning. But let me take a sip of my yak. Honey, Anuk Yai for Perfect Magazine did it for me. This is my favorite September cover of them all, honey. Of them all. She is photographed by, Lord, don't let me get this name wrong. Sabo Gravette. And the fashion editor is Rihanna's personal stylist, Jaleel. I can't remember his last name. Oh my God. Hey, Google. Who is Rihanna's wardrobe stylist?
Here are some results.
Jaleel Weaver, sorry. Honey, the cover is absolutely stunning. And I love the caption on the bottom, Anuk Yai, period. Because she is the moment. She is that girl. When it comes to the catwalk, listen, we have our Naomi's, we have Alice Consani. There's a plethora of girls, but Anuk stands out amongst them all. She is my favorite model right now. That walk, those legs, that face, that chocolate skin, perfection. Can we talk about, honey, the looks? My favorite look is this one right here with these pants. Obsessed. Look at how stunning. This photographer is everything. I actually went to his Instagram and was checking out some of his work, and the photographer is so dynamic and just so many different angles and so many different filters and effects, and he really knows how to place like effects in a photo and make it like 3D, and absolutely amazing. It's one picture in particular I can't stop looking at. I'm trying to see it on my tablet. This one right here. This right here. Oh my God. This gives me chills. I don't know. You guys know this about me. I live for editorial photos. I love when the glossies do it like this. This is when I fall in love. This is when I go into a different world and I get all these kind of crazy ideas for myself in my head. This is what gives people inspiration. Spreads like this. This is what's going to keep the people subscribed and buying your magazines and tearing them off the shelves. Stuff like this. Anyway, that's my favorite September collection. Huge congratulations to Jaleel Weaver and the photographer. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name again. Sabot Gravet. I think that's how you pronounce it. And Anukye, they also said Anukye had a part in coming up with the themes and some of the looks as well. So huge congratulations to her. All right, so we've talked fashion. What's next? I'm not going to do too much on fashion because, you know, we're about to be in fashion overload. We have New York Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, and then we go to Paris. So, honey, that's why I took these 2 weeks, honey, because, oh, honey, y'all are going to get real sick of me this year. Okay? I'm pounding the pavement hard. So listen. Cardi B is making her comeback. She has a new album out. And the lead single, is this the lead single or is it the second single? I think it's the second single. And it just so happens to be a remake of one of my favorite Jay-Z songs, Imaginary Players. So I'm going to show the video in the background here. So we have the video here. She looks absolutely beautiful in the video. And before I go into my commentary, I really like Cardi B. Okay. But Cardi, this wasn't the beat for you. Now, I wish I could play it on here. Now, I did see somebody on Instagram take her vocals off the Imaginary Players beat and put it on the Junior Mafia Get Money beat. Now, on that beat, it's a completely fucking different song. Listen, I heard a lot of people dissing her lyric, dissing her technique of how she raps, you know. On the Junior Mafia Get Money beat, this is a completely different song, and she would have stole the motherfucking summer. This Imaginary Players beat, this is more like a beat from Meg Thee Stallion, who is more of a lyricist, in my personal opinion. Listen, I like Cardi's personality, and she's only had one album out. Like, she's had a bunch of singles, she's had a couple of EPs, but when we're talking about bodies of work, like, you sample Jay-Z's Imaginary Players, we gotta talk real motherfucking hip-hop, okay? You do not have the bars for Imaginary Players. She just doesn't. Right girl, wrong beat. Right girl, wrong beat. You just do not have that you need for Imaginary Players. And, it almost seems like hip-hop is kind of like secondary to everything else she does. And listen, no shade, but Cardi B, with all the drama that you've had with Offset over the years, honey, you've had enough material for at least 2 more albums. So listen, she's really feeling herself right now. So, she went on the Apple Music podcast and she said this. Take a listen. Hold on, let me get it right so I can listen with y'all.
There is a lot of different female rappers, but for some reason, it's something about me that, like, these bitches can't stand. They can't fuck with me. They're on this class right now. They're sophomores. And I'm a senior. And it's like, you want to fuck with you want to fuck with the senior so bad. Like, you think you're here with the senior. You're not even a junior. You need to worry about them other sophomores before you start worrying about here, the fucking senior. But it's something about it that is like they can't even focus on them. They got to focus on me. And they always got to focus on throwing me shots and throwing me slings. No matter if you're a fucking sophomore or in motherfucking college, It's me. Avoid the disses, avoid the bitches, avoid the talks. It's like that shit is dying. That's dying out in me. Like, I'm really about to show you, bitch, that you are not fucking with me. Like, the cockiness is like being born again. Imagine being in your crib, right? You're going through so much shit. Like, you got like fucking writer's block. You have all these problems going on. Then a bitch starts fucking with you. And it's like, all right, bitch, I can get to you at that moment, But I'm gonna get to you now, and you're gonna get, you're gonna get it on my time as well.
Cardi. Again, I like you. I like her personality. But Cardi, let me talk to you, baby. Come here. Let me talk to you. I love your confidence. I love that you big yourself up. I love that you are not letting anything stop you. For one, you are focused too much on the haters. You've been at this hip hop shit for a long motherfucking time now. Okay? And let me be clear. Let me just end this queen of hip hop thing right now. When we're talking about an overall female rapper who has transcended past hip hop and who can still get into the booth till this day, I only know two queens in hip hop. And that's Queen Latifah and Little Kim, the Queen Bee. They opened doors for a lot of y'all girls. You know, when it comes to Queen Latifah, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of female rappers that were acting, let alone had a wildly successful sitcom. There aren't, before Little Kim, there was no female rappers at the Met Gala. There were no female rappers on the front row of these fashion shows. The reason why you're able to wear all these couture fashions in your video is because of the door that Little Kim opened. So when we're talking about, you know, the seniors and the juniors and the, baby, you only have one album. You only have one album. And listen, it was a bop. It was some Invasion of Privacy was a bop. But that was how many years ago? And this is not to take away from her success, but what I don't want to happen is, listen, the singles that you came out with on this album already are already, you know, facing mixed reviews. Don't get us hyped. And then it be some Boochie Cat. Don't get us all hyped, Cardi, and it be some Boochie Cat on that record. And then I'm going to play devil's advocate for her too. Let's be real. When we're talking about hip hop, it ain't what it used to be. When we're talking about hip hop, it ain't what it used to be. I don't hear nobody out here spitting bars like the bars that I grew up with. Nobody. And I'm not even going to count Nicki, because Nicki is one of the greats. Lover or hater, Nicki is one of the greats. Okay, she has cemented her place. She held it down for 15 years by herself and shut it the fuck down. But she's in between. Nicki is kind of like wedged in between the Cardis and the Meg Thee Stallions, and, you know, the Queen Latifahs and the Little Kim Queen Bees and the Foxy Brown. She's wedged in between the greatest and the worst, as, you know, as we're talking about, you know, the trajectory of hip hop. Cardi, you only have one album, sis. And none of these rappers, none of them are spitting bar. Listen, you talking to somebody that grew up in Jersey with Hot 97, you know, Power 105. Hell, before there was even listen, I remember before there was even a Breakfast Club, okay? You talking about Funk Master Flex. If Flex ain't drop a bomb on it, bitch, you lucky if it ever got played again. You know, this is back when hip hop was taken real serious. You couldn't just anybody jump on a Jay-Z beat. I'm just saying. I've heard them all. I've listened to them all from Moneybag Fold to Lil Baby to Da Baby to YN Lucci to ain't none of them. So, you know, what I don't like is the constant, well, she ain't no real rapper and she ain't no lyricist. And y'all the same people that listen to Ice Spice. They all rapping about the same thing. Pussy, dick, money, weed, I got money, you don't. They all rapping about the same shit. So, like, please, with the she ain't no lyricist, are any of them? Out of all the female rappers, I think Scarlett, lyrically, Scarlett is the baddest right now. Scarlett and Tierra Whack. Meg Thee Stallion, she hot too, but she's one of those girls that I'm a bad girl, pussy wet, dick in my mouth, I got money, on a private jet, you know, It's not a whole lot of depth. So, you know, listen, back up off of Cardi. This is what y'all built her up to be, the one of the new queens of hip hop. Well, let her cook. Anyway. Honey. So, it's been a whole lot going on in politics. And I'm looking at what's going on in DC. And it's getting kind of scary. And even more so than what's going on in DC, it's the way the majority of this country is just acting like it's just another day in the neighborhood. That's what really scares me. Yes, we have people out there protesting and doing what they got to do, but it's a lot of people acting like ain't nothing going on. And that's scary. Because if you look back in history, that's how certain shit was able to go down. Wasn't enough resistance. And I want to talk about what's going on and what happened in Texas with the racist gerrymandering and the redistricting that sent Democratic representatives in Texas fleeing the states to boycott. Because what Trump wants to do is take 5 Democratic seats, steal 5 Democratic seats in Texas. And so there was a bunch of Democrats that, you know, flee the state so that the bill could not pass. And this really, really beautiful young lady, I really love listening to her because she does not hold her tongue at all. Her name is Elizabeth Booker Houston. And take a look at what she had to say about this beautiful representative who really put her money where her mouth is. Take a look.
Y'all want to tell me why the Texas Republicans are holding a black woman legislator hostage right now? Y'all want to tell me why the fuck they are doing this shit? And why it's always a black woman. Always a black woman who has to hold the motherfucking line. So Texas State Representative Nicole Collier, she is currently being held in the House chambers because she is refusing to sign a release saying that she can be released into DPS custody because she's not a motherfucking criminal. She just did an interview with my good sis Angela Rye. Watch this clip.
Actually, what do you anticipate happening between now and then? If you were to leave without signing that permission slip, what happens?
Could be subject to arrest. Yes, absolutely. I could be subject to arrest. In fact, I did ask the DPS officer if I was free to leave, and I was told that I was not unless I signed the permission slip that would allow a DPS officer, allow me to be released into the custody of a DPS officer. I'm not a criminal. I didn't do anything wrong. I have a right to deny quorum. I have a right to resist. Every one of us have a right to resist peacefully. And when you see something that's wrong, you got to stand up to it.
So while Texas Representative John Busey said everybody go home, oh, we've done enough. We don't need to keep, breaking quorum, when yes the fuck you do. If you're going to stop the dilution of black and brown votes in the state of Texas, if you're going to actually fight back against this fascist ass fucking government that's trying to steal votes, that is engaging in voter suppression blatantly so, right? He's sitting his ass at home. And meanwhile, this black woman is alone in chambers. I don't even know if her staff is allowed in there with her. And she's standing there holding the motherfucking line. So I just need everybody to remember exactly what is happening in Texas, what is happening that affects the entire country, and how it affects black people as a whole. And just remember who the fuck stood 10 toes down.
So, I love her. So I love everything that she said. But what, again, it's the lack of wanting to step out of us, the American citizens, wanting to step outside of our comfort zone. None of us want to be uncomfortable. None of us really want to work for our freedoms, our rights. Mainly because we never, those of us who are, born from the 70s on up, we never really had to. But there's too many people who did have to, that have been around us all our lives, that have told us the things that they had to go through for us to be able to have the freedoms and liberties that and opportunities that we have. There were so many young black people that I talked to that didn't really give a fuck about going to vote. They just did not give a fuck. And while black men like Stephen A. Smith and Tim Scott are spreading lies and propaganda, in favor of the Trump administration, you have a black woman doing it all by herself. I didn't hear enough people talking about this. I didn't hear enough of us talking about this. I watched her on Don Lemon, and again, her name is Nicole Collier. I watched her on Don Lemon, and she was, everything that this young lady just said is true. I watched her. She was in chambers, locked in chambers, facing arrest if she decided to walk out of chambers, and she was the only one. There were other Texas representatives that were there with her while she was on Don Lemon's show. But I look at what's going on in D.C. and I see all the young black men who are just kind of like, yeah, there are some that's throwing stuff at the police officers, and yeah, they getting rowdy, and but what is that doing? Like, are we setting up a coalition? Do we have a plan if this shit get real bad across the country? What are we, the citizens, going to do to counteract this unconstitutional bullshit that's going on? There are so many young, and I put the stress on black men because I see so many black men with this toxic masculinity. Yeah, we got to protect the women. Yeah. But when it really come down to it, where the hell are y'all at? You have that comedian Drewski doing all that bullshit and coonery and buffoonery on his platform. Speedy, Kai Sanat, DDG. I mean, and Okay, I get it. You don't know enough about politics to talk about it, but goddamn, every once in a while, between the bullshit, can you have somebody on your show that can explain to the young men that follow you how important it is to get out there and protest and stand up for what's right. Stand up for your grandmother. Stand up for your mother. Stand up for your girlfriends. Stand up for your daughters, your sons. And there are a couple of podcasts. There's one podcast called, I believe it's called Grits and Eggs. And the guy on that podcast, he is really doing the good work. And then there's another one, I can't even remember, when I come back in a few days, when I am coming back in a few days, I'll have the names for you, but there's it's a group of them. I think it's like 3 or 4 young black men. And when I tell you, those guys are amazing. I need more of us to get on that bandwagon. Yeah, we could talk about the fun stuff. We could talk about the bullshit. We could talk about the hip hop and all that, but it's a time and a place. What this woman went through, Representative Collier, what she went through is nothing any of us have seen in our lifetime. Anybody born from the mid-70s up until now, we've never seen this type of shit. And we really need to start listening to the old heads, like Representative Al Green, because he's been through that kind of stuff before. Our grandparents have been through this before. Some of our mother, I have a mother who's on the older side, and though she's not from this country, she knows what was going on. My father, God rest his soul, he knew what was going on. I saw my father's high school photo. It was 4 black folks in that photo. So they come from all of this. I think it's really time, like, we really need to get serious. We really need to get serious. And we can make it through this. We made it through slavery. We made it through the civil rights movement. We just have to get serious. Because if not, I don't know. I'm not picking no cotton. I'm not giving up all of this. They're going to have to, they might as well kill me. They might try to do that anyway, because I am black and I am a tranny. Anyway, I miss y'all. Do y'all like my black lipstick? Anyway, I will be back in a few days. I promise I will be back in a few days. I already got my notes for the next episode, honey. I just wanted to, give myself a little warm up. But yes, I'll be back. Love you. Ciao. And stay black.